Ah, thank you. I was... there we go. Thank you, Shadow. I was just talking to no one. Oh dear. I've streamed for what? How many streams now? I've streamed for what? 70 streams, and then here we are starting a live stream with the mic muted. Oh dear, what is going on today? That just shows you what today's been like. I've been a bit all over the place, admittedly. And there we go. All right, I'll start giving the explanation. I apologize for anyone who's watching in the future that there is a big gap at the beginning of the stream. Anyway, so right, we're back where we started. I will explain this, and we have two different issues that we're going to try and solve today. If I bring up my Visual Studio. Thank you, Shadow, by the way, for letting us know. And for everyone else who might be watching in the future. So we're moving a lot faster now, but you can see even in this, I don't know if you can see this, but it's way more obvious at this point. You see that? We're trying to fix this today. And if I move this white sphere around and go really fast, you can see that the white sphere breaks up. Yeah, volcanism. And effectively, we're rendering at 2 different points in time, or 3. And we're rendering some of the sphere at one point and another part of the sphere at a different point in time. And we're getting this like awful splitting of this piece of geometry. And I've seen this before when I read an article. I can't exactly remember if it was a video or an article. It was an old one, and when it was talking about like the differences between OpenGL and Vulkan and how the swap chain works, and it demonstrated something that can go wrong with Vulkan. And I remember seeing this kind of like piece of geometry. It was like a gravelly floor that was split up into 2 different sections, and it was rendering kind of like in stripes. Like one part would be higher and one part would be lower. And I think this is what we're getting here. We're getting this kind of like delayed rendering where some of the sphere renders later than another part of the sphere, and we end up with this issue where we get this horrible effect, which is kind of almost gross to look at. This is actually worse on Linux. Now, I have done a bit of work before. If I change this to first in, first out, so this is for those who don't know what Vulkan does very well, this is the presentation engine's setting. There's like how many are there? I'll just go in. And let's see. So we have immediate, mailbox. So mailbox is the suggested, recommended. It's been that way since Vulkan 1.0 on desktop. You want to be using desktop, so you want to be using mailbox. It has more. It's basically immediate mode with a bit less craziness going on. Effectively, mailbox. If you imagine an image being updated, if the graphics card goes faster than the presentation engine can present the image to the screen, it will replace that image that's waiting to be presented. So you get more up-to-date images. First in, first out, it pauses. So the presentation updates at 60 Hertz because that's the monitor I have. So let's just say I render it, I don't know, 5,000 frames per second. It won't go any faster than 60 frames per second because it's waiting on each frame to be presented to the presentation engine. Now, because we've done that, right, we don't get that issue. We have to wait for it to compile. Which suggests synchronization with this particular setup is causing the issue. For those who don't know, first in, first out is basically VSync in video games. If you ever see that option to turn on VSync, it means vertical sync. So it's syncing up with something called the vertical blank of the monitor. As you can see, like everything's moving slower now. But if I oops, I lost the thing. Where'd it go? Okay, so if I look at the sphere and we move around, the jitteriness isn't to do with the rendering of frames. That's to do with the physics engine. This isn't quite correct the way I'm handling this physics engine, but you can see that there is no splitting in the model. The model is jerking back and forwards, but there's no like half rendered model anywhere. And if I go to where's a close one? I think that's the closest. So if we go to this guy over here and look at the sphere, we shall see that there is no splitting. I don't know if you saw that before, but we should see everything's just staying together. You know, no matter what I do, I can wiggle the camera. Now, you could just say, well, we've solved the issue, right? Just stick it 60 FPS. No, we haven't solved the problem. We've basically we've avoided solving the problem by going around it. So in this short live stream, we're going to be we're going to be investigating this particular issue. There is something to be noted. The more things we render, so the worse this gets. So let's just show, if I, for example, disable the scene, and I think this, no, that's not the whole scene. Okay, so if I disable the scene, so this is the visible geometry that isn't the collision geometry. We've turned on mailbox again, which again is what you're typically supposed to do, so that we see less. We still see it. We still see the issues, but if I so I'll go to the we're in mailbox mode. I don't know why that white box, the white sphere hasn't updated. It's subtle, but it's actually hard to see. Oh, okay. So the skybox is jittering. So you might see like white stripes across the skybox. That's the skybox not updating in the same way as the spheres that we saw earlier. But yeah, it's a couple of things. I think it's either synchronization that we got to fix, and this gets worse, by the way. The longer we run in the game, the worse this effect gets, until and I can actually make it worse by resizing the window over and over again. This actually makes the synchronization fall apart faster. If I was to do this long enough, this completely falls apart in Linux. But if I was to do that, no, it's a bit. This oh, there it is. I just saw it. So it's starting to happen. Basically, the world falls apart the longer we run the game and move around and resize the window, because the frames are starting to desync. And yeah, so we're going to be investigating basically how the swap chain's recreated, how the swap chain is, how we're acquiring the images and stuff like that from the yeah, from everything. So we'll see how we end up with this. Right, okay, so where do I want to start? So if I go to my draw off screen, so we what else was I doing? It's, as a suggestion of yesterday, we have now a QA idle at the beginning of a create. Actually, we don't need it here. I just realized, and I believe it's probably best to put this at the end. The resize the swap chain. So the resize is what you do need to pause the device when you resize the swap chain, because it needs to be synchronized back up. I think that's better at the end. So this is a... Oh, hang on. We need to re-enable all the geometry so we can see the issues quickly. Oh, no, I did. Okay. That's all enabled again. That's fine. So, yeah. Still there. Obviously, we haven't done anything, but I believe resizing will be a bit more... it will behave a little better based on putting it at the end. Anyway, so we're also going to be messing around with our tutorial code that we've been looking at before, as it's air quotes correct. It might not be correct in my case, so it's going to pin this for a minute because I keep losing it. Okay, so we need to make sure that we're doing everything right. We're getting everything spot on, and then we need to investigate. Does that mean we need to change things based on improve? So here's where my problem might exceed this tutorial, and this might not be actually useful at all. Because we're drawing 3 different graphics, we're using three different graphics pipelines, excuse me, and each individual graphics pipeline has to do a set of commands. They need to be submitted on a queue. I'm just kind of wondering if at that point do we need to set up some memory barriers? Don't know. Alright, so we are trying to make sure I shared that. Okay, I just had a feeling I did share it. Anyway, so that's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to assume that I've made a mistake in my semaphores and fences. That's the first thing I want to check. And my submission. So I want to focus on the big synchronization things, and then get more precise with the memory barriers. Because the memory barriers aren't as because this is what I believe. If the frames are drifting in and out, I don't think it's a memory barrier, because they're command specific. Even though they each command goes through the memory barrier. If, for example, we don't have if we have action commands that don't touch that pipeline stage, then that just blasts through. It doesn't care, right? But semaphores are a bit more. They do groups of work. The semaphores I have are more interested in the frame, and so we're going to be working through that. Oh, that's the other thing I want to do, actually. Now I've said that out loud. I also want to change how I'm registering the depth. This might be just an easy win. Now there's an actual problem. I've seen this, right? This is something this is me transitioning a memory a depth barrier. And I'm kind of curious if I add this instead to our memory barrier, and we don't transition the memory, so we don't transition the depth texture on creation of the swap chain. Yeah, this thing. So that's the transition. Because I thought, well, it's technically faster if I transition the image. So what don't we want to do here? Resize texture. Let's have a look at this, right? Right. I don't know if I need all this, to be honest. Resize the texture. I don't know if that's for the texture images that we use. I think this is for the actual image, the actual images that we write to. But I believe we need all that. So I don't think we need to. If we're going to use that, we need to obtain the resource. Texture to delete. Alright, so this is on. I don't think it's needed. Right, so that is just an easy thing to change and just see if it works or doesn't work or whatever. Okay, so nothing really changes. But I'm going to keep it this way around, considering it how bad it is. Alright, okay, so we've done that. Next is next thing we need to do is look at our let me think. Another thing we could just try, I know it seems a bit redundant, but let's just remove the player movement from the debug render as well. I just want to rule out like basic, issues that might be causing the issue. Okay, so I think that's going to stop the player from moving. Player is just going to be updated with the physics engine. Yeah, okay. So that's all I'm interested in, just to make sure that... Yeah, okay. Rolling things out one by one. Oops. Now, okay, so let's actually look at the semaphores that we were going to do. So if anyone has any questions about what's going on, you know, you can always just ask. There's no issue with me having to explain stuff, because sometimes I don't explain it very well. So yeah, we're interested in the presentation and new frame function. So we have wait for semaphores, we have reset fence, and Vulkan image. Now I've done this differently. That originally I did this completely different, and I'm just kind of curious, how has the official correct tutorial done this for resizing the swap chain? Because I do, it's possible that I'm getting like drift because of that. Yes, that's the presentation swap chain. We just have that image available, which is not the... Just make sure it's the same semaphore. Yes, we're not using the render semaphore, which is what we use personally. Yeah, synchronization honestly is one of the most difficult things to get right. Because we can totally break synchronization in subtle ways that don't help us. So we don't transition. I think we just copied this exactly when I did this. Okay, that's what we do. We load and store this. And for the depth, we don't care. So I'm just going to check my store op for the early and late fragment shader pipeline stage. I doubt that we've got the... I doubt it's a big issue, to be honest, but it's, you know, something I just modified, so I might as well just check. For our... So where is this? Give me a second. Oops. That's not what I wanted to click on. So a depth attachment. And this is... Oh, this is for... Oh, okay. I actually do this. This is the dynamic rendering struct. Understandable, understandable. I got that... I thought pipeline stages had a load and store for some reason. That's dynamic rendering, bro. No. I say image barrier. So what I'm interested in here is this is something I wanted to try, right? This is a very simple change. I doubt it's going to do anything, but because we have moved to synchronization 2, we still have some old synchronization 1 stuff flying around, which is maybe causing issues. And oh no, we actually don't. Interesting. So okay, so this is what I'm interested in looking at there. This is the main crux of what I think the issue is. So wait stage, we have frame. It increments the frame here. I don't think it matters for us that we increment the frame a bit late. But yeah, it uses the frame index. We basically do the same thing where we submit, but we have to do it a bit later because of we have a... Oops, I keep clicking on main, which I shouldn't do. We have a... So we have presentation, there it is. We have current frames and fly, which is the same thing. We have render semaphore, which is using the thing that we're actually going to display. So that's actually the rendered stuff. So weirdly enough, they don't have this, I don't think. Presentation info. So they have a bunch of they just have update swap chain, interestingly enough, which just comes from an event. Interesting. The reason that I find that interesting is because a lot of effort on my half on my behalf is gone to making sure that when you resize the window, each piece of Vulkan is checked, but they've just managed to go, okay, yeah, bro, if an SDL event gets triggered to resize the window, then you just resize it right after the presentation. So I'm kind of curious, like, how do they deal with acquired images? Because it's not always the case that we're going to be presenting to the screen. We might be acquiring an image step in the pipeline stages. Sorry, in the frame order. See, I don't know what the GPU is going to be doing, and I'm kind of curious, like, how do they? Is it true anymore that we have to worry about this type of stuff? Because it's a possibility that's causing the issue. That we end up like oh, I keep doing the wrong thing. Because new frame can return a value early, and it's possible that we end up making a mistake here. Because we return early, everything kind of returns early, it comes back around, and we end up on a new set of frames that we shouldn't be on. And I'm doing this because you can acquire an image and it can error out, right? And it's difficult to figure out what can go wrong if you do this. But they're literally just saying I'll try that. It's kind of an interesting idea. It would simplify the code a lot. So my input, I do have a. So this is the input class. Let me just look through the. I mean, I could literally just put an if resize event handle event, but I want to see the actual main loop because I currently have. Oh, that's something I haven't actually pushed. So for some reason, our graphics driver yesterday in Linux. This is what we did on. Whoops, we did this on Linux. It's actually quite good. We can hide and show cursor completely fine if you have a relatively up-to-date / non-open. If you don't use the open source graphics driver. If you don't, then this just works. I don't have to if def. It will hide the cursor on Linux, which is nice. But that was a weird one. Where's my main loop? I've forgotten where I've put it. So that's good. We actually went there. Because these are just callbacks, really, for particular things. Okay, here we are. So it was in events. So window, resize events. Yeah, but resize swap chain is here. Now I'm kind of curious if I basically remove everything that I've got here. And if this is always going to be triggered, do I even need do I even need this like resize swap chain stuff? Okay, so let's be super aggressive. We know if it doesn't work, we can just put it back, right? So reset fence, and the rest is nope, went past it. This, not sure, right? Let's just see. Right, okay. Oh, that duck is tiny, right. No, we're still getting the issue. But I am kind of curious if I resize the window, what happens. Resize to 0. F5. Huh. it is. Yeah, it's pretty much just as bad. Maybe it's improved a little bit, but I can't really say. I mean, we've reduced the complexity of the code, I guess. I'll have to test this on Linux. This is a tentative update. But if we're updating the... What are you two complaining about? Function uses a lot of stack. That is purely because of the bindless textures. These structures are quite big. I don't think that's the issue. It can become an issue if we get like a stack overflow based on the stack having too much stack. So I'm a bit... So we've done that. We've removed a bunch of code, which is always nice. Let's reduce this. We don't have result. We don't use results, I don't think. That'll just be a... Okay, that simplifies things. I mean, at the very least, we've reduced some code, so in theory it goes faster, because it does less. But and we have a ring command buffer based on the threads. I'm trying to think. What else could we try to try and improve the synchronization? So, is this defined hard-coded to anything? Yeah, 0. Queue a command buffer. So it's incremented by 1 if we queue a command buffer, but I don't think that's what we're interested in right now. Okay, so let's go to our dynamic rendering. That was once a mistake. Yeah, it is tricky because I'm trying to think. Okay, if it's the pipeline stages, right? Sorry, if it's the pipeline... What I'm talking about is this. Let me explain. I don't think I've explained. So we have... we have the debug renderer that gets rendered first. Sorry, that's a lie. We have the scene that gets rendered first. Commenting stuff out for now. Then we have the debug renderer, which gets rendered next. And then we have the skybox in that order. Now, is that a synchronization hazard? I'm not sure. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to change the order. If it is, then I think we would see things if things were rendered out of order, right? So if I render the debug renderer first, assuming that the order matters, I'll still put the skybox last because that's it doesn't matter what the order of the skybox, I don't think. So let's throw in that. So the spheres are going to render behind the geometry, I think. Oh, there's no depth. Okay. But what I'm interested in now is, do I get the flashing on the debug geometry still, or do I get it on this, right? So what I'm looking for is the issues happening on... Oh no, it's still the debug geometry. Interesting. Has that always been like that? Oh no, wait, look. I think it's tearing. That's so dark. We need image lighting so bad. Let me see. Okay, so that's just the light going stupid. Oh no, wait, that is. Interesting. Yes, no, these, if I go inside, maybe it's more obvious. But there, yeah, there it is. Look. Yeah, I have to move. But yeah, the geometry is getting worse for the stuff in here. Now what I'm going to do is try everything in my power. Once I've removed everything from the scene, can I get it to recreate? Now this is important. I've got to really try to make this break. And I'm going to try it for the spheres, and we're not even going to render the skybox. That's all I'm interested in. If that breaks, then we know that it's not what I think it is. So what I'm thinking is each pipe... Oops. I didn't mean to do that at all. Stop it. Each pipeline barrier needs more synchronization than what I've set up what I've set up between each stage, because there's a lot more action commands going on. So now I've got to basically break my assumption here. So my assumption is that these spheres should be perfectly fine. They shouldn't have any jittering because they're the only thing rendered, and they're accurately, because we've only got like one set of draw commands for one graphics pipeline. So if that my assumption is correct, I shouldn't see anything. So now I'm going to have to challenge my assumption here and do a bit of naughtiness with the swap chain, which is just be as silly as possible basically with this window. And we're going to try and do all sorts of this, which includes like putting in a whoops, I paused everything, I paused everything. Now you may end up crashing it because we end up being so bad, but I've got to at least try to. Alright, gonna go full screen now. Now in theory I should have destabilized the renderer enough, but I'm not going to give in until I'm completely satisfied. So I'm not completely satisfied. There is a possibility that this would have been fine. Now we've seen it in the spheres. The spheres are typically the worst, that's why I picked them. So it should be more obvious at some point that these guys completely fall apart. In the sense that we start rendering. Okay. I need a single... It needs to happen once, effectively. I think what we should do is we should make it go really bad and then throw that into render dock. I think that's a perfect idea. That's a really good idea, actually. So, assuming that we've got what we came for. Right, I'm just going to mess with it one more time. Let me get out of full screen mode. And we're just going to do a bit more. We're going to go like this, and we're going to go like this, and we're going to go like this, and we're going to go like this. Minimize, maximize, minimize, maximize. I don't know if that even does anything, but... so again, I'm going to go full screen. So I'm going to make it go crazy and horrible again. And I'm going to move the sphere, the white sphere around, and then press F12, F11. Okay. I don't know. Capture frame after a bit of time. That's what I should do in render dock. And hopefully we capture a frame where everything's gone wrong and we can actually see the breakdown. Let's go inside the sphere. Oh. Oh. No. You see that? So it's not that. You see that? See the white popping up on the screen? That is, if I go crazy with the mouse, that means that it's actually just able, the stabilization is less of an issue. Sorry, it's less visible, I should say. It's still there. It's definitely still an issue. It's still an issue, but it's harder to see when there's less on the screen. Great. Okay, but that's not going to help us in render dock. We're going to have to put everything back. We're going to load up render dock. So give me a minute. We're going to break the screen down and see what it's doing. What is the data? What is the mesh viewer? What are the individual stages? Etc. Blah, blah, blah. So we are in release with nothing on at the moment. Because that's the thing. All this is happening, and even if I go into debug, there's no validation errors. So yeah, bringing this back in is actually really handy. Oh, interesting. Why? Oh, I tabbed it forward for some reason, which is fine. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Tab. Okay, and what else? Why is there a bunch of green? Oh, we moved everything. Let's put it back because I want the sphere to be as the white sphere to be as broken as possible, so we can investigate that particular entity and see the setup effectively. Now I might also as well put a, what is it called, a pipeline, a VKQ wait idle at the beginning of the frame as well. That might be a good shout, just to see how the validation corrects itself / doesn't correct itself with that heavyweight validation error, validation check. So we should in theory just be able to run in release now. And let's see, can we run in release? Void, right? Okay, so we get that horrible driftingness. It's less pronounced because Visual Studios, but going left and right guarantees it to happen. But I need to be in the game, when I'm doing this. I can't click off into render doc. So render doc has the ability to collect a frame after a set amount of time, which is nice. So we'll launch and we'll set that up. Oh, wrong project. Apologies. Let's just do void, not the other one, and launch that in render doc. Cool. Okay. Capture after a 1 second delay. Okay, so hopefully we call it. No, that wasn't. That was too quick. Let's do 3 seconds. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, I think I caught it. Let's see this. What did it look like in our viewer? No, it didn't. It didn't. We didn't get anything. Let's try again. Launch the application. Let's try 10 seconds. I guess I'll just yeah, load settings, launch, and we'll do 10. Capture after 10 seconds. Go. So now we can do this basically forever until it gets captured. So we're looking for that print screen capture thing. Goes to 1. And what the heck? We got a very strange capture here. So that's actually good. So according to what we drew, if you go to texture viewer, we drew all that. Where's the player gone? I don't see it at all. Yes, we have some player. We have a character controller, 100%. But fortunately, it is glitching like crazy. And we can't, unfortunately, continue until we solve that, which is sad. So weirdly, we don't even see it. It was there visible, but this is the problem, I think. Let's see. Swap chain presentation. Now, the problem is with RenderDoc, it's going to add some synchronization in. So I'm just going to try and replicate what it would be doing with the VQA idle kind of thing. VQA title. GPU device. No, Vulkan device. Main queue, sorry. Is it Vulkan? I thought it was Vulkan queue. Okay, so run that. Now, we get the error. Do we get the errors when we do this? I didn't think so. You see the difference? This is a paused frame. The validation is 100% to do with the actual frame sequence. Give yourself a stretch. Oh dear. Now let's just restart the music. Yes, we're still watching. Thank you. Yo, Maddo, how you doing? I saw your message in Discord, and I decided to hop on stream and talk about what I'm doing. So we do have some progress, but we haven't solved the issue. So we've just established that VQA idle is a thing that can synchronize all our frame, and yeah, it's a way of solving the problem. Now, I don't know if anyone's familiar with Vulkan, so I'm just going to say this is a bad idea. The reason that you don't want to do this is because this pauses the whole queue, which in our case has the presentation commands and the actual drawing commands. It pauses them and it tells them you must all finish until the next frame. The whole point of this function here, with this wait fence, reset fence, acquire next image, all this stuff here, is to do that for us. The whole point is to say, okay, if the fence has been signaled to stop, wait until everything's done, then we reset the fence so it can be signaled again. Then we get the next image to draw onto, like if you think of it almost like a piece of paper that the graphics card's going to draw on. We blast that, we blast through that, the graphics card blasts and draws all over it and draws that for us. Then we present that to the screen. We say, okay, the fence, don't do anything, pause everything until we've actually presented that image that we've drawn on to the screen, and then start again. At the moment, I felt that music to my bones as you talk. Yeah, there we go. Epic. I think you need to wait for presentation, then acquire the image from the swap chain. Yeah, it's somewhere between there. It's the presentation stage. I'm just explaining for the people who are unfamiliar with Vulkan. So this is bad though. This like I said, this pauses everything. It shouldn't be doing it. And yeah, we are in a situation where the presentation, if we go down to the bottom here, this is the problem child class, function. And I think it's to do with this here, this exact thing. There is something here that I should be doing extra or different that's going to be allowing this presentation to work. Now, it could be the semaphores, but let's look into it. Okay, so we have the wait fence. Shouldn't it be a semaphore, not a fence? No. For that particular case, we need a fence. Yeah. For a standard setup, outside of... Let me just turn this down a bit. For the... so for a standard setup, you signal a fence when it's submitted to the graphics card even, not the presentation, sorry. And you have two semaphores that sync up the graphics side of things. So this is the graphics. This is for the graphics action command. So that, like I said, when the GPU is drawing to that image. And this semaphore is for the presentation, which is the whole system of presenting it from the graphic. That image that's on the graphics card now needs to be moved to the monitor. So we need another semaphore for that needs to be signaled once that's finished. So it goes start this work once this is finished, and then tell us when we're done. That's what these two are doing. So you need those two things and the fence. And the fence just makes sure that the CPU and the GPU are synced right at the beginning, so they don't end up the CPU 10,000 frames ahead of the GPU because the CPU is doing something that's really cheap and the GPU is doing something really expensive. So we do need to sync up the GPU and the CPU. That's what the fence is for. But obviously I've got it wrong, so let's look into someone else who's probably got it right. So I don't think it's the dynamic rendering, but we could check that. So the dynamic rendering is just allowing us to say, after a certain amount of a pipeline barriers set up, we just blast through everything from beginning to end. So anyway, let's see. So what I'm looking for here is some kind of issue. I don't see it though. This is the problem. So I don't think that image index. I don't think we're going to be using something. We're not going to be doing as something silly as. It's possible the swap chain hasn't been created correctly, and then we get this weird issue. How many images are there in the swap chain? It depends on your graphics card, but for me it's 3, because I do 1 plus minimum. You can have like an undefined amount. Well, undefined. I think the max you can probably have is. It says it's 0, which means there's no max amount of swap chain images you can have, which means I would imagine it's either the max 64-bit number or the max 32-bit number of swap chain images that can exist. But for our case, I'm taking the minimum image plus 1, but it's possible I haven't set it up properly. And the presentation engine starts to fall apart because the swap chaining that's happening with the presentation engine is not working. Okay, so let's see. I also increment the frame at a different point, but I don't think it matters as far as I can tell. I can move all this. I don't know. What I'll do is I'll try to replicate that exactly, right? And we'll put this here. Because that's where they've done it. They've incremented the frame. I would need to do this at this point. So there's a bunch of work. This is not being used. I've turned this off, so we can basically ignore this. But the frame is being advanced a bit earlier on now. I don't think it matters, and I don't think it's going to make any difference at all. Oh, before we do that though, we've got to re-break the renderer with removing this. Right, so that's gonna work fine until we rerun. So yeah, this is definitely a look at the swap chain, look at the synchronization. Interestingly, we get different results, but it's still bad. Completely different results, right? Cannot say. Let's just comment out that code, just in case, right? It's doing something we don't want. It's. Where is this used? I don't even know. Okay, that's fine. I'm just making sure that it's not used in some weird place. So let's comment out that code. It should be false, but I'm going to make sure it's 100% false by not having it in there. We should see the same results again, unless... yeah, okay, so we see similar results. So what is the difference here? We are incrementing the frame, but the frame isn't used here, if that makes sense. So it's not like these two are now benefiting from that change. Because we got synchronization errors, I should turn on the debugging again. Give me a minute. I think it's turned off. Yeah, I think I've accidentally pushed code that's been we turned off the debugging, which is not good because we could be getting more information. We might the CPU might be screaming at us saying like, you're doing something stupid here, bro, and I've turned it all off. All right, so that should be slow, but it should be. We should get more info. And yeah. Okay, there we go. Interesting. We got a validation error right after write detect. So this is okay. So my depth change that I made is wrong. I think what I need to do is, because I've just commented out stuff. I think I made a mistake with the. Okay. It's this particular thing's wrong. I don't know what I did wrong, but I'm gonna look. It could be the dynamic rendering. I'm not entirely sure. So the begin VK dynamic rendering is here, right? No, it's in the command buffer area. And it's saying that the depth image is load clear, which was previously written to the image transition. Have I done this in the wrong order? Is that the whole problem? Like, maybe I'm doing begin rendering before the transition. No, that's not possible. You need a command buffer, a valid command buffer, and the new frame. Yeah, let me just talk through this. I'm not entirely sure if everything's kosher or something. Which is really written to the image. Yeah, but it's the depth texture which is interesting. I still don't think this is the issue, by the way. I just think I've introduced another issue. The current synchronization allows for access to color attachment right at color attachment output, but to prevent this hazard. Wait, am I doing something really stupid here? Am I writing to color images and I should be writing to depth? I literally haven't looked at that because that should be so not happening. So there's depth. We're not just doing depth and stencil are different. Where's the? Okay, no, it is definitely depth. Access at here. Have I got that wrong? Let's just look at someone else who's not got it wrong. I thought this was like super obviously straightforward. Yeah. Oh, it's late. Okay, I think I did early. I think that's my mistake there with the pipeline barrier. I think I said early twice. Yeah, early. So we need to wait on late and not allow anything early happening? Is that the order? That seems backwards to me. So that is the clear. Yeah, I think. Okay, so which I can't remember which one does which. And it's great. I'll throw in So it has image layout optimal. I've just depth. Anyway, let's just see if that validation layer goes away. So we have source. It's not supported. Yeah, it's the confusing part. Why am I getting this guy? It's very confusing. So it makes sense that we get this error if we're outputting, if we're trying to transition a color bit. We shouldn't be transitioning a color bit if we're doing depth. But I thought you could do both at the same time. I don't know what this memory barrier is complaining about, to be honest. But we'll go. We'll keep going. We'll keep attacking it. Okay, so where do I have color here? I mean, the only thing I feel like the other code has is this. We have the depth image. We have, for some reason, it's just attachment. I'll do attachment then for both. That's the only difference, which I don't think. Does that do anything? No, I don't think so. That's what I was thinking. If includes depth attachment read. Oh, hang on. It's a different error now. So I have write twice. Is it not write twice? I'm confused here a little. Oh, hi Azure. Now the question is, will this game run on 4 gigs of DDR3? Will it run on 4 gigs? Yes. I don't think I'll be hamstrung by gigabytes. What this engine needs is Vulkan 1.3 on your graphics card, and that's the only hard requirement right now. Yeah, nothing's set at the moment. Yeah, I mean, you see this gig. Don't ignore this. This is just this is a lot of this amount of gig memories being processed is largely dependent on this application and a lot of debugs. I've left a lot of memory up for me to use for debug reasons. So this is this in theory could be a lot less. I think my whole engine can run in like 100 megabytes or something of RAM. So why is the old layout undefined? I believe because we haven't transitioned this piece of memory. So this is the beginning of the pipeline barrier. So this is like before the dynamic rendering structures get set up. This is, I'm just going to check we have got the right order right around. So yeah, thanks for asking that question, by the way. That was a good question about the pipeline barriers. Let me make sure the order's correct, because that is important. So we have begin rendering transition, which is this. Okay, this is now, but then we need to do the dynamic rendering. Begin dynamic rendering. Okay. So yes, we should be in depth at this point with the same depth texture. Again, let's just make sure we're using the same depth texture. We've got to challenge our assumptions when we're doing this type of thing. Depth texture. Yeah, that seems the same to me. This is in the GPU class, which is what that's referencing. I hate NVIDIA with passion. The data centers took my RAM. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. And now they are making it difficult to get it back. Yeah, it's not fun. With the AI bubble and all that. Well, I will definitely be cognizant of that and try to make my game efficient and playable on AMD, NVIDIA, Intel, and all the common setups, assuming that your graphics driver is up to date and your graphics driver isn't too, and your graphics card isn't too old to support Vulkan 1.3 natively. That's my only requirement. And you're not on Mac. I'm not going to support Mac. Okay, so yeah, the reason this is coming in as undefined, yeah, is just because this is the beginning of the frame. We've just acquired it. It's junk when it comes in, when we acquire these images. Or it's not, we don't care what it was, like even if it is something. Where's this error happen actually? Let's look at the call stack. Oh, appreciate that, dude. Interesting, so it's on the begin rendering transition function. It fails. So it's literally this, it's literally... So we haven't actually done anything. I don't think we've even rendered a frame. Let's see. No, it's black still. Okay, so we haven't rendered a frame. It's the first time we've done this. It can't transition its depth because it says this time the image memory barrier source VK depth attachment read, which I don't think it is. Source mask. My source mask is not read, it's write. Let me look at that again. Source access mask. Sorry, I said the wrong thing. VK access to depth stencil read is not supported by pipeline stage color. Is it the other one? Maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing. This is the only read that we have, so let's disable this for a minute and just see if that does anything. So maybe, yeah, maybe I've been looking at this thinking it's... Huh. I'm gonna go with write then. Just write. No, it didn't like that. What? It is depth. It's talking about depth read. I don't... What would be that... Oh, why would that be happening? Oh, and I mean, I'm on the wrong mask as well. Maybe this should be none. Should this be none? Like that? Okay, I'm gonna look at the tutorial code again. Hi Tom, how you doing? Tom Bombadil. Good to see you. Hello, are you writing any sort of abstraction layer or just supporting Vulkan? I'll just be supporting Vulkan because it's cross-platform. I've tried to do that in the past with OpenGL. I tried to build an abstraction layer. But considering Vulkan's pretty well supported, it seems to be the... For a game developer like me who wants to avoid doing as much work as possible when it comes to implementing stuff so I don't end up in a pit of... Okay, so this is only depth. Of making, building technology that and then never building a game that never comes out, I don't want to be in that situation. I'm going to try to just support just Vulkan for now. Okay, very strange. I'm glad we're getting hazard reads though. Sorry, right after right, because this might be the issue. OP clear, just previously written to the image layout transition. What does that mean? So our depth image... I'm confused. I'm not sure what that means. So they begin their command buffer. Just bear with me for a moment and I'll chew through this a bit. Rendering. We have the image here. Oh, hang on. Image barriers 2. Am I saying image barriers 1? That might be it. That might be it. I might be getting this mixed up because now I have 2 image barriers. So when they set up the attachments, we have depth, color attachment 1. Why do they say 2? Hang on. Let me see. Okay, so this is the dependency barrier. Oh, I'm being dumb. This is not even part of the dynamic rendering. This is completely separate. That's what I was getting confused with. Isn't the stage mask to be stage mask? Am I... Did you see me just do something like... Use the stage masks as the access masks or something? Because that would be nuts if I did that. Oh, you are so right. Holy. Okay. Okay. We can fix this. Thank you. This is why we live stream, I guess. These are completely wrong because they're in the wrong place. So this is uncommented broken code that's never worked. There we go. Look at that. Sometimes I can just go blind. It's I don't know how to describe it any other way. I literally go blind to what I've written. And this should be stage, not access. Oh no, you can't do that. It's... Jeez, I've messed this up so bad. Okay, so I'm going to put that back to the way it was. This was here originally, so... Pipeline stage... Yeah, this will work. This will tell you it works because these are just numbers under the hood. So yeah, holy. Okay, so we still have hazards, but do we have something that makes more sense? So the pipeline. Did we render a frame? Yes, we did. Okay, so we rendered a frame. I'm checking this. You can't click on it when a breakpoints happen, but you should see like a little window here with a bunch of stuff in. Yeah, I can completely get it. Is great. Just sucks that micro shit / Xbox don't support it. Well, Vulkan is support. I don't know about Xbox, but Vulkan is supported on Windows. I'm not gonna code DirectX. I'm definitely gonna get this. This is gonna be. This is going to run on Linux and Windows. It's going to run natively on Linux. We actually did Linux yesterday. We fixed a bunch of Linux issues, and that's the motivation for using Vulkan. That we can actually write it once, test it twice, and fix the issues and the issues between them. Yeah, I'm sure you're stuck with DirectX if you're on if you're trying to code for Microsoft. Yeah, pretty based community. Sounds good. Yeah, we're all based here. Everyone's against Microsoft. Yeah, that's the reason I started working on Linux. Just because Microsoft. I think I mentioned that in a video. Because of the AI stuff and Windows 10 support being annoying. Being told Windows 10 is the last operating system they'll ever make, and then they came out with Windows 11. Very annoying. So yeah, I started to support Linux, but I still have to support Windows because most people use Windows. There's nothing I can do about that, which is fine. It's not like it's a massive pain, but eventually I'm going to have to move away from Windows 10. Okay, so the error says the write after write detected on current queue, write, which is the depth again. Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's If I had this right earlier, this was late, right? But I just had them the wrong way around. You're right. Yeah, that's true. Ah, there we go. Thank you, Mado. Honestly. Appreciate all that help. That maybe that might have saved me hours. Honestly, appreciate that, dude. So what do we have here? We have. Do we still have the synchronization thing? No, interesting. Okay, so it looks like it's working. Let's try and break it. We've got to try and break it now. Use Arch, by the way. Fantastic. I'm using Linux Mint. I'm a very basic Linux user. But I want to use what most people who are like noobs on Linux use. And also I'm not that advanced on Linux. So what I'm going to do now is abuse this like we did earlier, right? We're gonna do the swap chain to death with everything. So if it breaks, it's going to be even more obvious. Because we've got more stuff rendered on screen. So okay, so it doesn't like that. Okay, so it looks like the stuff I took out earlier, when it comes to this handling, this this is the stuff I guarded against earlier. I can easily put that back in. So I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do minimize stuff at the moment. So yeah, let's sorry, I'm going to have to re-break it again. And not go to minimize 0. We'll avoid doing that. Can we minimize still? Yes. Okay, so everything else other than going to 0, 0. The reason that breaks back, for anyone who's wondering, is because I'm telling the game engine to render to a window of 0, 0. So, sorry, 0 height, not 0 width. So it's like whatever the width is and 0 height. So it doesn't know what to do. It kind of freaks out. Right. So we should see something. This jitteriness again is not to do with what we're looking for. We're looking for the splitting of our spheres, basically. And I think it's very dramatic when we look at this. Okay, I think we can call a victory on this, actually. Turn that off for a minute. Let's go inside. Because it's often easier to see inside things. I don't see anything, I don't think. The last barrier, in my opinion, is the NVIDIA driver support on Linux distros. Performance is not good with NVIDIA with Linux. Great with AMD Linux, though. Yeah, I've heard that's one of the things I'm not struggling with, but because I have NVIDIA, I've had issues with my Linux distro not being supported with the drivers, because I have NVIDIA cards. Not because I love NVIDIA or I have any loyalties, I just happen to have that. But I've heard that AMD supports all sorts of distros, and it's another motivation for staying on Linux Mint and basic Linux distros. I think we can call victory, gang. I see. Yeah, there you go. Most Zoomers goes to Ubuntu. Yeah. Speaking of which, we got open source non-Nouveau drivers. Nice. No, I'm not seeing anything unusual after abusing the physics engine. I think the physics engine, the engine itself. I think we've solved that horrible synchronization bug. I think what we were doing, we weren't worrying about our depth. So, I think because we solved the issue, I completely solved the issue by accident, and I'll try and explain, I think, what's happened. So it wasn't the frames. The frames have been fine the whole time. But the depth at which the depth values in the late and early stages of the fragment shader, which is just like, it tells us how far a pixel is. So we do some tests to make sure that, for example, if I go really close to this thing, like this asteroid or whatever, like the game engine needs to know that this asteroid is in front of a load of stuff. And what I did originally was I set up the depth image once when I created the swap chain, And I think what ended up happening is the store and load. So when we store the depth textures and when we load the depth textures at the beginning of the frame were incorrect for a given frame. So we ended up with a different position of the fragments that we ended up writing to. So some were further away, some were some were closer, and we had this like lag, and we ended up drawing fragments at different places. Very strange. It's a synchronization bug I've never seen before, where you end up the depth textures themselves are causing this. But I think that's what we can do. I think we can claim victory on this as well. So I think that's, hopefully that explains it. Will there be a demo for this game? Just curious. This game, I'm going to say I will try to release something that people can play, like a little tech demo. This I don't believe is worthy of even a demo right now. It's just literally this. This is everything you're seeing right now. But I will release a downloadable executable that people can play before I finish the actual game itself, I think, because multiple people have asked that. Not many, but multiple now. So if there is interest, I will build an executable with all the assets and let people have a go. Yeah, hooray. Which is great, because I don't have typically long to stream on Sundays. So I'm going to quickly share my Discord. If anyone wants to join, who is new. Thank you, Madu, by the way. Honestly, appreciate everyone who watched. I'm going to share that if you want to join. I'm going to have to call it here because I don't have typically as long to stream on Sundays. But we've solved a big issue, so that's good. Yeah, thank you for everyone who commented, liked, and subscribed. If you have... or if you've already been subscribed and stuff, you know, appreciate you guys, and I'll see you all soon. Yeah, thanks for helping. Honestly, you've cut many hours off development, so it's very much appreciated. So we'll leave it here, and I will see you all shortly. Yeah, had fun watching. Had fun talking to you too. So, see ya. I will say goodbye now. Bye.